Good morning and welcome to another pre-market review session with the Market Trader. My name is Ray, the Market Trader. And before we get started, guys, we'll need to run through our obligatory risk disclosure. But before we do that, if the analysis that I'm providing does resonate and does support you in navigating the markets, hit the subscribe, hit the like button, leave a comment or two on the portal. Let me know that, and let others know that how this analysis is supporting you. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead now and move into our risk disclosure. Just kind of want to alert everyone that the content that's being published and distributed by the Market Trader and its affiliates is to be treated as general information only. None of the information provided by the company or contained herein is intended as investment advice and offer to buy, sell, recommend, endorse, sponsor any future security, company, or fund. We all understand that the use of this information is to be used at your own risk, and the company, its partners, representatives, agents, employees, and contractors assume no responsibility or liability for any use or misuse of such information. Future trading does carry a fair amount of risk. It's not for every investor. Investor could potentially lose all or more of their investment capital. Any risk capital money that can be lost without jeopardizing one's financial security or lifestyle should be used for trading, and only those individuals with sufficient risk capital should consider trading. Again, nothing contained herein is a solicitation or an offer to buy, sell futures, options, or forex. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. All right, so now that we've gotten through the risk disclosure here, guys, we'll go ahead and turn our attention to the news portal, okay, and see what kind of news we have in the horizon that could impact us in the markets today. Let's just go ahead and do that. So we'll go ahead and open up our financial portal here and take a look and see what news we have in store here. So we have Fed member Barkin speaking here or has already spoken at 8 a.m. Eastern. We have Pepsi reporting earnings today at 8:15. We have Fed member Bowman speaking at 9:40 a.m. Then we have Pfizer earnings at 10 a.m. We have a couple of speaking engagements from our president. And then we have AMD reporting earnings after the bell. All right. So not a whole lot, I would say, of news that could potentially impact us in the markets, but we are headed into tomorrow where we do have a fair amount of news that could impact us. Okay, we have the ADP employment, we have S&P Services PMI, composite PMI reporting, and then we have EIA crude oil inventories. Okay, so tomorrow is going to be a relatively strong day of news that could impact the markets here. Okay, so let's go ahead now that we have a kind of a feel for the news here. Let's go ahead and take a look and see what kind of context we can secure for the markets to support us in navigating them. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and turn this off here. We'll turn our attention now to our charting platform and see if we can go ahead and open that up here. Looks like it's not open at the moment. Let's see here. Okay, here we are. All right, so we're going to go ahead and navigate into start with our normal market. And one thing I'm going to add to this review, guys, is we're going to start taking a look at volatility, okay, and see if volatility has come down to a level where we can actually, the market can actually sustain or support trades, okay? So we're going to take a look at that here after our review of the gold. I still see price kind of skipping prices here. So it looks like we're not out of the woods here, out of the right. We're kind of skipping, gapping between prices here, which is not a good thing when it comes to managing risk. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and start off here with the daily chart, and then like I said, we'll start to again take a look here at the volatility. Right, we're gonna kind of review volatility and to see what kind of volatility and how volatility is impacting us or could impact us in the markets here. Okay, so we'll start off with just the general market here. Take a look at gold here. Now, up until recently, we were pretty strong to the downside. We got down to pretty close to the 4,400 level before we started to create a reversal pattern. Okay, we don't know exactly how this candle is going to close, but it is promising, right? Again, we were very quite parabolic, right? We were very parabolic in our direction here to the upside. And this little sell-off that we had here actually created quite a bit of volatility in the markets. Okay, so currently we have a candle that's giving us an indication that the market could be creating a little bit of a 3-bar reversal pattern, and that seems to be supported with our volume delta. And looking at our DMI, we are seeing that our DMI is still above our negative and sort of flattening here a bit. And that's kind of what we're doing right now, is kind of maybe supported the sellers, kind of best effort to bring the price down. And now the buyers are beginning to get maybe a little bit of a stronghold here at these levels. Okay, so let's go ahead now and take a look at the 4-hour chart and kind of zoom in on these daily candles. So you can see here that we're going to go ahead and turn off our initial balance. If I can turn off initial balance here. Okay, there's our initial balance turned off. We'll also go ahead and turn off our ADR levels here. Okay, so you can see that we are seeing some signs. Okay, with VWAP and the R9 EMA price is above both. If I do have my let's see, always something. I'm going to go ahead and take a look here at the ribbons, moving average ribbons here, and see where we are with respect to the higher time frame levels. Okay, so we'll locate our let's see, triple EMA. Let's do this one here. Okay, where is... Okay, let's see if we can open this up here to show more than just a single. All right, well, let's see if we can find a different indicator here. Just going to look at my moving averages here. Moving average ribbon, moving average, where's it, ribbon? Oh, there it was. There it is. Okay. All right. So again, we're starting to see some of these moving averages move above, right? So this below here, I believe, is our 200, right? So basically, we moved down to our 200 moving average, okay? And now we're starting to see price, kind of develop a little bit of a stronghold here, okay? And it left in its wake a little bit of a demand zone, okay? You can see here that we left a little bit of a demand zone. So I'm gonna go ahead and mark that in green, right? So this area here is a demand area. We're starting to see price, our shorter time frames starting to get above. We are above the 200, working our way above. Let's double check here. Working our way above the 20, the 50. Okay, working above the 20 and the 50. So we're starting to see signs that maybe that the bulls have come to maybe potentially step back into this market here. Okay, so 4,400 has shown to be a at least for now a level of importance for the buyers. Okay, and we're starting to see we're starting to break some structure here to the upside. Now we're certainly not out of the woods. Okay, we have 5,600 up in the stratosphere. Okay, still there. So this area is still very much ripe for sellers to potentially step in. but it is a bit promising that price is above our 9, is above our VWAP, kind of giving us indications that maybe we're starting to see a little bit in the way of maybe bullish, or at least the market restoring this into a little bit more balance here. Okay. Let's go ahead and take a look at the 30-minute chart, and then we'll take a look at volatility before we move on. Okay, looking at the 30-minute chart, we're going to go ahead and remove some of our drawings here. We're going to go ahead and remove the ribbons for now, and then take a look here at the fixed range volume profile and see where price is in relation to yesterday's price action. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and locate the start of yesterday, move our way to the close of yesterday, and there we are. Okay, you can see that price is well above value from yesterday, okay, indicating that there's a fair amount of interest in this market to the upside. Obviously, I would treat this level as an area maybe of potential support should price come back down to it. Let's call it 47.45 or 47.46. My expectation is that that's going to be a supportive area. I understand that I'm pretty close to a couple hundred points above that level, but a market has strange ways of revisiting areas like these. Okay, so right now I see that the market is above value, indicating that we have a fair number of buyers in this market overnight. Okay, indicating that maybe at least the short-term sentiment of this market has maybe returned to a little bit more bullish than what we've seen over the last few days. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead now and kind of do a little bit of a comparison here across the initial balance ranges across these markets. We're going to go ahead and start off with the Asia market here. Okay. So we'll start off with Asia. Okay. You can see that we started off in range, right? We started off in range, but as we got closer to London here, we made a nice little break to the upside. Really didn't give us much in the way of a pullback, but we got above the 9 EMA here, right? Got above the 9 EMA here and continued to the upside for the remainder of the Asia session. Okay. Moving into London. London really didn't offer us, I think, much in the way of direction. Basically, we stayed in range and remain in range. Okay. Right now. Okay. Now it's trying, potentially looking maybe to look to the upside here, but we spent the entire session, almost the entire session here in range in this market. So while Asia was bullish on the gold market, London has been a bit more conservative, at least for now, on direction. Okay, so let's see what else to take a look at here. I'll take a look at ADR here just to see where we're at. We've already exceeded the ADR range. Okay, the fact that we're above it is an indication that maybe we are very much in a sustained move here to the upside. We had just a momentary blip on the ADR high before it just kind of went ahead and continued its move here to the upside. So I'm going to give it a kind of neutral to, or maybe bullish to neutral kind of rating here in this market. So I think it's fair, as long as we hold above the 9, hold above the VWAP, to look for some opportunities in this market, again, to the upside. Now, again, the thing that we need to be wary of is the volatility of this market, the swings that we're currently seeing. So I'm going to go ahead and pop in the volatility index, okay, for gold. Okay, let's see if this is it. GVZ, if I got this correct. Yeah, GVZ is not. Let's bring this up in a different way. Go ahead and open up a Yahoo Finance. Z. Okay, well, we still have a very much an elevated reading here, guys. Okay, so our volatility in the gold is currently reading at 37, which is, not quite double we normally get, but certainly above average. Okay, so there's still a fair amount of volatility in this market. I think if we are going to trade this market, we need to be careful. Okay, because these swings that we're getting, I'm just looking at price here for a moment. We're swinging right now, anywhere from 5 ticks to 6 ticks in a single move. Okay, So something to keep in mind and something to keep aware of, and maybe may cause us to maybe look to maybe sit the market aside here. Okay. Morning, Anthony. Morning, everyone. Dirk. Morning. Okay. All right. So again, heading into the market, I do see some evidence here that maybe we are maybe starting to see at least another maybe potential swing to the upside. I do see that we are still in some bear side structure here, right? So bears could potentially step in at any point. But as long as price remains above our 9 and our VWAP here, I would say I'm neutral to bullish in this market. All right. Let's take a look at the silver market. Okay. We'll start silver. Okay. And we'll see. We'll just look at the normal market here. Normal. And again, I'm just kind of looking to see, look at price action on the silver. I see experiencing similar kind of price action. So I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the daily. Again, the daily, again, looks like we have, found some buyers here. We closed inside. We opened inside this last candle here, but we opened not at the close, but somewhere in the middle here. Okay, so indicating some level of strength here to the bull side. So I think that maybe we might have found some buyers here at these levels, and assuming that we continue to develop this 3-bar pattern that to the upside, that could give us maybe some indication that maybe we'll come back and revisit the 120 level here. Now we do have a lot of repair here, to be honest, that needs to be done in this market. Okay, because again, as I mentioned, price. There's not a lot of volume in some of these prices, and in some cases, price kind of skipped over it. Okay, so that's something to kind of keep in mind here. Okay, looking at the volume delta, we're getting a very strong reading here on the daily. We're getting 13,000 more buy orders than sell orders, so that's obviously positive, and we're seeing our positive DI kind of stabilize here at these levels. All right. And still giving us a kind of a reading of about, I don't know, what is this? About 22. Now we're seeing a little bit of a decline in the momentum, and that's understandable, right? Given the kind of the down move that we received in this market. Okay, so let's go ahead now and take a look at the 4-hour chart. Looking at the 4-hour chart again, we're seeing a little bit of a kind of a little more bullish kind of price action that we've seen of late here in this market. I'm going to go ahead and turn off my initial balance range here for now and kind of zoom in on these candles. I'm going to go ahead and open up the ribbon. Okay, so again, we got to the 200 moving average, a little bit below it, and now looks like we found possibly some buyers here around 75, 74 level here. Okay, we again, similar to the gold market, looks like we've left a little bit of a demand zone here, right around the 79 to 72 level, pretty big range. Okay, but it does show us that it has left a little bit of a support zone here. Okay, we're starting to see that our moving averages are starting to cross above. We have our 9 and our VWAP crossing above our 200 moving average. Okay, and we're starting to kind of show signs that the market is looking to recover here a bit. Looking at the 30-minute chart. Okay, looking at the 30-minute chart, we're going to take a look here and see, again, you can see that we're starting to kind of staircase. We're starting to break some structure here to the upside. We're going to go ahead and turn off our ribbon here for a moment. And you can see that price is above our 9, above our VWAP. Okay, so that's giving us a little bit of indication that we are in some sort of, kind of bullish structure if I'm just looking at these series of candles. But I do know that I'm still inside this swing here. All I've managed to do here so far is to break this consolidation range, right, that we've been in since this downturn. Okay, so now we broke into the upside above this. I would say this 85 level, 86 level is relatively important, right? Because we were in some sort of consolidation. Now we've broken above it. If we are going to maintain this bullish kind of stance, we obviously need to stay above this area here around, I'm going to call it 86. Okay, 86. Okay, need to stay above that level in order. And we're going to go ahead and mark that in green. Okay, so that's the expectation is that would be supportive level, much like other areas of structure have now been supportive as we make higher highs and higher lows. Taking a look at the fixed range volume profile for yesterday, we're gonna go ahead and compare where price is in relation to current price action. And again, you can see that we're well above value, indicating that we have a fair number of people who are willing to pay a premium to be part of this market to the upside, which is obviously is a good sign for the bulls. All right. Taking a look at the initial balance ranges across the various markets, we're going to go ahead and start off with the Asia session. Okay, so Asia offered us a little bit of range, at least to start, and then we eventually got to a place where we did indeed get an extension of this range. Right, got a nice little extension, a little bit of a pullback. This one actually offered us an opportunity to participate in this move. Again, we had a relatively narrow initial balance range in Asia. We got a little bit of a push, a retest of that same level, and off to the 100% extension of this level plus. Okay, we've already reached the 200% extension of this Asia level. Now, taking a look at the London. Okay, London doesn't seem to be maybe it has with this last move broken above. So for the most part, London was pretty much in range. So if I had to compare the two markets between London, I don't know exactly where we're at with this initial balance range for London currently, but London has managed to close above the initial balance range that it left during the London session. Again, another sign of bullish price action. Okay, so of the two metal markets, the silver looks to be a bit stronger to me. Okay, we've broken above. We're breaking structure here to the upside. We've broken above the initial balance range in London as well, and we're hovering above that range. Now we are a little bit extended here, and I'm assuming that the ADR, similar to gold, has not quite broken, but we're at that ADR level. If we hold above 87, okay, 87.50, 87.60, I think we have the possibility of maybe repairing some of these single prints, some of this price action that we've seen over the last few days. Okay, but we are a little bit extended, right? So again, the ideal situation would be to remain patient and wait for a level we could participate in. 9 EMA, VWAP are some of those levels. If I look at the visible range volume profile, well, I just had a range there it is, 84. That's a little bit deeper pullback. So I need to find some levels right now based on what I'm seeing in price action on how I can participate to the bullish side in this market. Now I have to be aware, right? I have to be aware given the fact that we're still inside the swing, we have not gotten above 120, right? That we are still potentially at the mercy of some of these sellers stepping back into this market because they're going to want to protect their investment, right? They invested to the short side. They could potentially be step back into this market and cause the market to continue lower. So something to be aware of. Okay. So similar sentiment that I had with gold, I think also applies. As long as price can remain above the 9, above the VWAP, I'm going to say that I'm going to be neutral to bullish in this market. If price starts to cross below this market, then maybe that opens up the door for price to come back to some of the lows. Again, we've already kind of drawn this area below here as an area of demand, right? But that's well below the market here. Okay. But nonetheless, it's an area that could come back. I don't see, let's see, I'm going to go ahead and add settlement. Settlement might be something else that we want to keep in mind here. So let's go ahead and open up settlement. I don't know where it added that. Is that settlement price down below here? Let me see. There it is. Yep. Settlement is way below at 76. So we are a bit extended at this point. So it would not surprise me a bit at all. I would say that maybe we assuming if we get below VWAP that we could rotate all the way down to settlement. That would be a pretty big move here in the silver market. But certainly an area that has not noticed that this is kind of a virgin area here, right? It has not been touched since it's been broken, right? Since we closed at this level price has not come back to it, right? So um, we often revisit some of these levels, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, so in any case, I'm going to maintain my view here. I'm going to continue with my bullish to neutral stance on this market. I do understand that I am a bit extended, but I am seeing price still remain above my 9 and my VWAP, so giving me kind of an indication that maybe there's still some upside opportunity in this market. Okay. If we start to see price break, maybe the initial balance low, and again, we'll take a look here at the initial balance low for the current session. Okay, it's developing a rather narrow one as well, so giving us kind of a good indication here, right? It's not going to take much effort, depending based on the width of these initial balance range for the market makers or participants to drive in these initial balance or to get away from this initial balance range. So it'll be interesting to see how the initial balance range establishes here in the New York session. We are at a level where we have reached the highs of ADR. So it would stand to reason that we could lose a little bit of momentum to the upside. Okay. If we manage to hold above 87.55, then maybe there's more upside, maybe sustained move that we continue to make here in the silver market. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the crude oil market. Okay, crude oil market. We'll take a look at the daily chart, similar to what we've done with the other markets here. And we'll go ahead and turn off ADR here. We'll turn off the initial balance. And again, I think the market, like looking at the series of candles here, it's trying to make an earnest effort here to go higher. Okay. Now, last couple of days have been a bit on the bearish side, but if I can still, technically, if I draw my channels, I really haven't broken any structure to the downside. I'm still remain in a bullish channel to the upside. Now, even with these two kind of bearish candles, really just offer me another opportunity to maybe potentially participate in this market to the upside. That's really all these two candles have done, is pulled me back to the lower end of the bullish channel. Okay. All right. Taking a look at the 4-hour chart. Let's take a look at the 4-hour. Again, you can see with a little bit more detail these daily candles and how price is reacting on the lower end of the channel that I drew on the daily. Again, we kind of consolidated here on the lows. Took a peek below. Did not find any buyer. Did not find any sellers, and as a result, reversed. Now price is above our VWAP, above our 9 EMA, giving us an indication that maybe there's a possibility that we come back and revisit some of these highs here. The high in particular that I'm kind of looking at here is basically the high of the session here, right around 65.70, 65.80. I do also have settlement price around 65.18. Assuming that I can hold above this 9 EMA, I really don't have anything that stands in its way, stand in the way of price potentially coming back to 65, which would make for a relatively strong move here to the upside. Okay, don't have anything that stands in the way, but for the first order of business is that we need to get above 62.50. If we could hold above 62.50, hold above the 9 and the VWAP, then maybe that possibility can come to pass. I'm going to go ahead and see. Let's see. Wanted to open up my ribbon if I can do that. Let's see if we can do that. No. Okay, yeah, settlement. Let's get rid of that. So ribbon. Okay, so here we are. We're above the 200. We're above the 100. We reacted away from the 100, and now we're kind of reacting around the 50. Okay, so if we can get above the 50 moving average, right? Is that right? Let me make sure I'm stating this correctly. I think the red is the 200. Yeah, 200. Orange. Yeah. Okay, so 200, 100. 50. Okay, price is above the 50 and potentially working its way above the 20. So we're starting to get some indications here that maybe price wants to head higher in this market. Okay, now we have some obviously we have this area of 65 that could be resisted and could happen as early as 64, right? So an area that I would be conscious of is this 64 level. that could be an area of resistance, okay? Because that's the beginning of this balance range. Let's go ahead and remove some of our drawings. Let's remove the MAs, and let's see where price is in comparison to yesterday's price action. Go ahead. We're going to go ahead and open up the fixed range volume profile. We're going to compare yesterday's price action here. Okay, so we'll locate the start of Monday here, right about. Let's go ahead and move down to the 30-minute chart to do this. Okay, so 30-minute chart. We're going to go ahead. Okay, there we are. You see what we see that price is above our settlement. We see that price is above our 9, above our VWAP. We're going to go ahead and open up fixed range volume profile and take a look and see where price is in relation to yesterday's price action. And we take a look at this and close right here. You can see that price is above value. Okay. Right. So this being our value zone, right here. So we'll go ahead and extend that line at 62.28. That's an area that I would expect maybe there'd be some interest from the bulls, right? Because that's an area where we received some aggressive buyers to leave the range. Price is a bit extended. I see it well above the 9, well above the EMA, and also above the settlement price. So it would not surprise me if we were to come back and revisit some of these levels before we continued maybe our potential move here to the upside. Okay. Taking a look at the initial balance ranges across the various sessions. Okay, that's the current session. We'll take a look at both Asia and London. Okay, so Asia was pretty much, I would say, neutral. Okay, we did get a little bit of a failed auction, I would say. We got a nice push to the upside that was rejected, and then we kind of stayed in range until London. London was able to take that market here. Yeah. Take that market and reverse it. Okay. We got to a low here of 61, and we managed to break above the initial balance range, which is bullish. So I would say an interesting level for me, given the confluence of some other items here, is can the market stay above 62.15? Because I do see that that's the area of settlement. I do see that's the high end of the initial balance range for London. So 62.17 would be a reasonable level. If we do not hold above the 9, this would be the next level of support, and then followed by 62. So this area right here would be a logical area where I could potentially find some buyers in this market. All right. So my view, I guess, I think my view, given the fact that we've broken some structure here to the upside, I think I'm gonna go with the a bullish stance on this. We have broken some structure to the upside to indicate to me that there's a possibility of continuation. Again, that goes with the assumption that we are able to hold above the 9 and hold above VWAP. If either of those get broken, then my view is changed from bullish to range to potentially bearish. So it's important that it holds above these levels, above these indicators, in order for me to continue this stance. Certainly, we want to stay above the 62.40 level, right? 62.40 level would be kind of an area that maybe would serve as a little bit of a springboard for price to continue to the upside. Okay. All right. Before we move into the markets that everyone is waiting for, I want to I guess encourage folks, if they haven't already, and if they're not already subscribers, to go ahead and click on the subscribe button. If they have not hit the like button, and encourage them to do that as well. And don't hesitate to leave me a comment or two if this analysis is indeed supporting you in your analysis of the markets. So that generated one more like. So with that, I will move on to the equity markets here. Okay, so we'll start off with the NASDAQ, and the NASDAQ has been kind of a difficult market of late. It seems like we are very much content in remaining in some sort of range here. It's a market that is developing. It's developing. It's coiling. Okay, it's developing a move. Now the problem is I don't know the direction. And again, if you've watched me on the Top Step TV, you've seen me draw the ascending wedge pattern here that I'm about to draw here. Okay, and we just are coiling. Right, we're coiling to the edge of this. Now, the closer we get to the apex of this wedge pattern, I don't know if I necessarily want to draw this as this bottom line. This is green, okay, but this line above is definitely resistance, okay. So we've come to this level a couple of times. We came to this level, got a pretty nice reaction away from it. Now we came back to that same level and did not get the same reaction away from it, and that's, I guess, a kind of a function of an ascending wedge. But that's an indication that maybe we are losing maybe a little bit in the way of seller liquidity. Okay, sellers don't have as much liquidity at these levels as they have had in the past, and as a result, the buyers were able to kind of maybe continue its march to the upside. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at the 4-hour chart. 4-hour chart, we're going to go ahead and turn off initial balance. Again, you can see that we are in this consolidation pattern. Looks like we have some maybe some interest in Sunday to the upside. Okay, market seems to be grinding higher, right? I would say the grinding has been more prevalent of late here. If I look at the ADX and DMI indicators, you can see that the ADX indicator really is not giving us a strong indication of momentum in this move. Again, we don't really have strong directional pressure either on the negative DI or the positive. So price is moving, but it's not moving with any sort of momentum behind it in either direction. At least that's what I'm seeing on the DMI. And then also without any volume. So if there's no volume, no momentum, well, we're moving, but we're not moving with any sort of purpose. Okay. We're not moving with any sort of purpose. So we need some sort of catalyst to help drive this market. Maybe with I don't expect that to happen with today's news, but with tomorrow's news, maybe that will shake up the markets to maybe move in some sort of direction here. Okay. All right, that's kind of what I'm seeing on the 4-hour. Let's take a look at the 30-minute. And again, market that seems to be quite content in range, right? As I mentioned, again, maybe I don't know, maybe the beginnings of a head and shoulder pattern is developing here. I don't know. I'm seeing a left shoulder here, left shoulder. I'm seeing a right shoulder, right? And then up here we see the head, right? So I don't know. Maybe there's a little bit of a head and shoulder pattern that's developing in this market, and that's kind of indicating maybe a topping pattern is being developed here. That I don't know, right? All I can tell you is kind of what I'm seeing around this 26,000 level, right? That's kind of what I'm seeing here on the 26,000 level. All right. So again, what to make of this? Well, I don't know. Well, again, if this is indeed a head and shoulder pattern, and I go ahead and draw the neckline, right? And I draw a line from the head to the neckline, well, I can anticipate maybe a move back down to settlement. That's kind of what this is telling me, right? Based on this pattern. Now, obviously, we could take advantage of that, right? We have an area here where we can manage our risk. And if we get a break below this 25, say 940 level, then there's the possibility that we could come back down to retest settlement at 25,845, which would make for a very nice move. Okay. All right. Let's take a look at the fixed range volume profile. Let's go ahead and see where price is in relation to yesterday's price action. So we're going to go ahead and start over here at the left-hand side, drag this across to the close of the yesterday's session. And you can see that we are technically above value, right? But not in such an impressive way. We are ranging above value, right? Now, if we manage to close back inside the value range, right? So this is, I would say, an area of support, would be an area of support for me, right? All right, here, we're just going to mark it as support. If we manage to close back inside value, well, then that's another case for maybe the potential of price, rotating back into the other side of value. Okay, that's kind of what that's kind of what that's telling me. Okay, so we're in an interesting area. I would say that if we are going to maintain this kind of direction, and right now I would say the market is lacking direction, we're ranging. I would say that if we are bullish, then we need to maintain this 25,943 level. If not, then it feels to me that we're going to revisit settlement price down here at 25,850. Okay, that's at least kind of what I'm seeing. So 25,945, 25,944. I think it's a level that needs to hold here. So I would say headed into the session here, I'm gonna call it neutral. Right now, I'm not seeing any sort of directional bias here. I'm seeing a lot of neutral price action. Again, if we start to break some structure here to the downside, maybe maybe I will go from a neutral view to a bearish view. Okay, at which point maybe that opens the door for this move that I had highlighted earlier. Okay, so here we are. Let's go ahead now and take a look here at the ES. All right, we'll again start off with the daily chart, if I can type the correct symbol. All right, taking a look at the daily chart and opening up the daily and seeing what we can make of the daily here. Okay, so looks like the ES showing a little bit more in the way of strength here as compared to the NASDAQ. Okay, I don't know if there's maybe a little bit more move away from tech into more stable companies, but I do see that the market is showing some more signs of strength. We've kind of butted our heads up against this 7,012 level, not once, right? Not once, but twice. And now we're back at that level a third time. So we're knocking on the door. We're knocking on the door for the market to look to extend, okay, up at these highs. Now you can see every time we've reached these highs, similar to what again, creating a little bit of an ascending wedge pattern, right? So I'm going to go ahead and draw that, right? We have a little bit of an ascending wedge pattern that's developing here, right? Ascending wedge pattern, right? And we're kind of hitting this level multiple times. So again, I don't know the direction of this move. But I do know the magnitude of the move, right? So the magnitude of whatever move that we're in here is either going to be something that moves us away. We find some seller liquidity up here and we move back down to 6,800, or given the kind of the higher highs and higher lows, maybe there's the possibility that we extend up to as high as almost 7,300. Okay, because that's kind of the price action that I'm seeing here on the daily chart. Let's go ahead now and move into the 4-hour chart and see what kind of context was maybe additional information we can pull from the 4-hour. Again, you can see that if I'm looking nothing but the recent kind of price action, well, you can see that the market has been trying to head higher. Has not been, I would say, overly successful of late, right? We see a lot in the way of overlapping price here. But nonetheless, we've had 3 straight days here, starting with the beginning of February, of some bullish price action. All right. Now, the question is, do we have the market participants to continue? We need new volume to come in to continue to drive price higher. Otherwise, the market is going to find buyers, and that they're going to find those buyers moving lower, right? So we're at an important area, right, where we could find some sellers. Sellers really have not stepped in with any sort of effort of yet, right? But they can. Okay, so not a lot of volume, not a lot of direction here at the moment. A market that seems to be quite content to be hanging around at this 7,000 level. All right, taking a look at the 30-minute chart. Looking at the 30-minute chart, more of the same. I think I've echoed this to you guys. Is if I can maintain the market in a box, I'm in range. I'm not in trend. So again, we need to be kind of patient here to wait for the market participants to tell us which direction they want to take this market. Right now, the market is in some sort of range. That's also indicative of volume and also indicative of our DMI. Right. So we are seeing maybe a little bit of a blip here to the upside, a selling pressure in the negative DI based on the set of candles that we're getting here on the 4-hour. But the ADX is not really giving us any indication that momentum is aligned with the current price direction. Okay. So let's go ahead now and take a look at the initial. So we'll start off with the fixed range volume profile here. Fixed range volume profile. We'll start with the start of yesterday's session, and we'll move that across to the close. Okay, so here we are. NASDAQ was actually above value. ES, we're seeing that price is inside value. So if we manage to get below 7,008, then I don't, first of all, I don't see a reason why we would not retest 7,002. And then we have maybe the possibility of rotating all the way down to 6,093 here. Now we do have a little bit of interference here that could stop that advance, but right now we're inside of value, so inside of some sort of balance zone, right? So the possibility exists. Okay, all right. Let's go ahead and take a look at the initial balance ranges across the various markets here. Okay, just to get a sense of what Asia and London were able to do with these markets. So we won't go in reverse. We'll start off with Asia. Okay, look at Asia. Okay, and see what Asia was able to do. Well, what was Asia's range? Asia remained in range, right? No real advance in any direction. It stayed in range. London, similar. Okay, although it looks like it's kind of peeking its head below, right? We made an attempt to rotate through value, but it didn't even make it to the other side of value before sellers kind of stepped in. So that's kind of bearish. That's kind of a bearish move. Okay, so that's an indication to me that there's a little bit of bearish pressure in this market, right? We have, again, similar to what I shared with you. Looks like we also have a similar kind of head and shoulder pattern that's developing here, right? We have the left shoulder that's kind of developing. We have the the kind of the head here developing, right? There's the head. And then we have the right shoulder here, right? So we are developing a little bit of a head and shoulder pattern, right? That could provide us, again, if I measure this, if I just take the width, the height, and to the neck, well, where can this go? Well, take us back to settlement, and maybe it may be lower. Okay, so I'm going to give this a little bit more of a bearish tone, maybe neutral to bearish in this market. The fact that price is back inside value opens the door for the possibility, certainly, of getting back down to settlement. I think it's within range for price to reach settlement before we make any sort of move. And the outside possibility, and maybe not outside, but relative possibility of reaching the other side of the value range. Okay, so a market that's, I would say, neutral to bearish is kind of what I'm kind of hinting at here. Okay, neutral to bearish. I feel like maybe we've created a little bit of a topping pattern here on the short term. So important level, I would say, that we're at the neckline right now at 7,010. If we break that level, I don't see any reason why we don't come back down to 7,000, and then ultimately to the other side of value at 6,093. All right, let's go ahead and move on to our last market, and that's the Dow. Before we summarize all the others, we'll start off with a daily chart. Again, daily chart indicating that we are in a bit of range. We're kind of barcoding here a little bit in the Dow. A lot of overlap in price here. You can see not really a whole lot of direction. No volume in either way. Maybe a tad more to the bearish side. We look at our DMI. The DMI is not giving us anything in the way of direction. We are just ranging, a market that is in range. Looking at the 4-hour chart. 4-hour chart, let's go ahead and turn off our initial balance range here, and we'll take a look and see what we had at the start of Sunday. We had our series of candles here that maybe was indicating to us that the market was going to move higher. It stalled, right? It stalled up here at 49,600, and now we're starting to see some indication that maybe we're seeing a little bit of a rounding kind of top here. We're up at the highs. So it would be consistent with range for the market maybe to make another swing here to the downside. Price is already below our VWAP, and our 9 EMA is down here at 49,344. So we've already gotten one indication, right? Price is below VWAP. If we can get price below, then maybe that opens the door for price to take a swing to some of these lower prices here. Okay. Taking a look at the 30-minute chart. Looking at the 30-minute chart, I'm going to go ahead and take a look here and see. First of all, I'm going to go ahead and open up the fixed range volume profile. Let's see where price is in relation to yesterday's price action. And let's see, you can see here that we, similar to the ES, we are inside value, okay, up at the upper end of value, but certainly inside of it. So the market is in some sort of balance, okay. So it would not surprise me if we break this level here of 49,460 and hold, that we rotate all the way down to the edge of value here at 49,242 before we maybe return our view here of maybe continuation move here to the upside. Okay, right now it feels like we're making a little bit of a topping pattern here. We're a little bit of a rounding top. Feels like the market is a little bit heavy. Okay, wants to potentially head lower here. Okay, let's take a look at initial balance across the various markets. And we'll start off with Asia. Asia is again was pretty much range bound until we got into London. Okay, pretty much range bound in Asia. Open up London, and London was not in favor of maybe participating. Right, we got a nice little extension of the initial balance, a retest of initial balance low, and down we go. Right, so it feels to me like this market is moving into some sort of bearish price action. Okay, it's about to, and we've seen some evidence of that. So I'm gonna give this again maybe similar view, maybe a tad more bearish on this market, given kind of the price action I'm seeing of late. If we can break and hold this level, I really don't see any reason. Again, I'm kind of looking below here. I'm not seeing anything that kind of could stand in the way of price coming back to Monday's settlement. Okay. This is Monday, so this is Sunday's, I guess, Friday's settlement price. Okay, so yeah, so I'm going to give it a bearish to neutral rating. I'm seeing some bearish price action here of late that could cause the market feels heavy. So I'm going to give it more of a bearish weighting on this market. Okay, let's go back now and kind of review, summarize kind of where we're at with these markets. Again, I'm looking at these kind of the jumpity moves that we're getting, 4 ticks, 5 ticks, 10 ticks moves that we're getting in the gold market. And right now, taking a look at, we've been kind of bullish in Asia, ranging in London. Going to go ahead and open up the US session now and seeing we're kind of developing what we're developing there. And again, we're kind of ranging in that as well. So would not surprise me in the least, given this kind of price action. Now, the fact we are below the 9 EMA, if price can get below this level, that we could maybe return this to this bearish kind of stance that we've been in. We have been bullish of late here, but we are starting to see some price maybe making its way below the 9 EMA. We're still technically above the VWAP here, so that's kind of holding out hope for those bulls here. But if we do manage to close below that level and hold, then I don't see any reason why we don't come back and retest. Certainly 4,800, okay, seems to be the potential first stop, okay, 4,800. And then potentially as low as 4,650, which is the low end or settlement price of the yesterday, okay? So I'm gonna give it a neutral rating here, guys. A neutral rating given kind of the price action that we've seen here of late. So we'll stick with that, and then we'll go ahead and take a look at the silver. And I suspect silver is probably doing much of the same here, kind of giving us an indication that it is in some sort of range. Price again has managed to get below our 9 EMA, still above our VWAP, so kind of giving us an indication here that maybe we are still in some bullish structure here to the upside. Assuming we can get below VWAP, then I don't see any reason why we don't come back and maybe revisit the settlement price, which is a good 12 points lower than what we're currently. Okay. Taking a look at the crude oil market. Crude oil market, I think, is showing some signs of some strength here, right? We're starting to break some structure to the upside. So I'm going to give it kind of a bullish rating here on the crude oil. It's because I am seeing a little bit price is relatively strong above the 9, above the VWAP. I think it's just a matter of finding a relatively good location to participate in this market. So I will go with a bullish rating on the crude, and then taking a look at across the various equity markets. NASDAQ, again, we're slightly above. Let's see, kind of take a closer look here. If we're above, we're just slightly above. No, looks like, yeah, we're inside value, it looks like, with price here, right at the edge of the value range here, guys. So if we do not hold this level, then I would say that maybe this is the path for the NASDAQ. We have that neckline, we have settlement below, and settlement at some point, once we get, assuming we get below this level, it's going to serve as some sort of gravitational pull. Is going to pull price down to this level. Okay. So again, I'm going to give my neutral to bearish rating in the NAS. I would say similarly to the ES, neutral to bearish. Okay. Especially if we can get below that neutral rating will turn bearish if we can get below settlement. Okay. That will open up the door maybe for price to get it to get to the low of value. Okay. And maybe revisit some of these settlement prices that we have below here. Okay. So neutral on the ES, and looking the last market, the Dow is probably even showing even more signs of weakness here. Okay. So we're seeing the candles beginning to look to break below here. So, yeah, just to summarize, I would say neutral in the gold, neutral in the silver, bullish on the crude oil, and I would say neutral to bearish across all the equities. Okay, so that's kind of what I have for you guys. Happy to entertain any questions you might have. Otherwise, I will let you to continue to explore your charts and trading opportunities that present themselves today. Trade well, trade safe, trade like a pro, be a market trader. What indicators are we referring to? So the main ones here are the visible range volume profile here on the right hand side. Okay. We have visible range volume profile here on the right hand side. We have the fixed range volume profile, which I use to kind of arrive at whether we're in value or outside of value. We have settlement. Okay. We have settlement down here. We have the fixed range volume profile. We have the 9 EMA, and this blue line is the VWAP. Okay. Those are the main ones. And then down below, I have the volume delta, and then down below that, just to help me with momentum, is the DMI indicator. Where is settlement from? Settlement is just basically closing price. Settlement is closing price that closed. The price that it closed at in the prior session, right? The price that was used to expire whatever options. Okay, it's basically the closing price for the prior day. Okay. Hopefully that answers your questions. But yeah, visible range volume profile here on the right. Okay, that just dynamically changes as I move candles. My fixed range volume profile that specifies as ranges, my 9, my VWAP, my settlement, my volume delta, and my DMI. Okay. All right. Okay. Awesome. All right, guys. That's it for me. Trade well, trade safe, trade like a pro. Yes, I'm gonna be off looking for some opportunities, just like everybody else. All right, guys. Have a great session today, and we'll be back at this tomorrow. Thank you.